welcome to this week's episode of Sailor Barry and Haley. We just got back from DeCourcy and there's rain in the forecast, so we're going to wrap up a couple projects that are in desperate need of being finished, or started for that matter. Haley busted out the Total Boat Gleam and started wrapping up our final coats on a couple pieces of trim inside the boat, which is amazing to finally have that done. And best of all, we finally get the hatch combing here to look beautiful like the rest of the boat. It truly, once finished, ties the room together and makes everything else look better.
So we also used thick sew to kind of help seal the gaps in this hatch that leaked. And I did sand it, but I didn't want to actually take the bulk of the thick sew off because, I mean, the whole point of it is that it fills in the gaps. So I just sanded it a little bit, but it does actually disappear really beautifully, the stuff that I left. I mean, obviously, if there's texture in your thick sew, that's going to be visible. But the Gleam is actually really, really good at, like, hiding, like, even the Gorilla Glue bits. It just kind of blends everything together somehow.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Some say magic. Some say science.
I think it's mostly magic.
Kind of the marriage between science and magic, which is what everyone wants.
And as I said at the previous episode, I was really starting to focus on the idea of fixing our foredeck. I start cracking into it shortly, and man, plans changed quickly. The foredeck here is built a little weird. The teak is slightly under 1/4 of an inch, so there's no real room to put plugs in or anything. So my hope was that I could skill saw out the real seam and then the fake seam beside it, and then the real seam and the fake seam, and clean it all out and just fill it with epoxy and move on. But the more I cracked into it, the more I realized there's a more honorable way of repairing this, and unfortunately far more expensive. But like I said, the teak was incredibly thin, so the more I worked it, the more it would shatter, the more it would break. I really did try and save the teak at first, but there was no option. So there's actually a few reasons why we decided we were going to go for fixing the deck in such a comprehensive way. First and foremost, the deck leaked on our heads while we slept. Not great, and you can see why. Secondly, the teak doesn't look that good anymore, and I think it's time for a refresh. And there's something really cool coming down the pipe. And it involves that gigantic indigenous mural that we have on the bow of the boat. I'll go into more details on this in the future, but do know that we are going to be doing something very honorable and very respectful to the previous mural and to the new one that's going to be going on in the near future. I found out, much to my surprise, that the plywood underneath is still viable. It's still good. So, all the teak started coming up. And all of the rubber that was hiding underneath. That's probably what saved the wood. And the next thing to come up was this bronze stanchion. I've had a lot of people speculate as to whether they're solid bronze or whether they're hollow. I can confirm now that these are solid bronze stanchions. It's a ridiculous amount of bronze, but I love it. This had to come up so that I could get the teak that was hiding underneath it all the way up and make sure that we could treat the entire deck. This thing is ridiculously heavy. So all that remains is a couple inches of covering board and the remainder of one teak plank. Now I'm just preparing the deck to receive a coating of Total Boat's penetrating epoxy, which can soak into the plywood and make sure that it stays as good as possible for as long as possible. This means burying any fasteners, cutting off anything that is sticking up, and removing all of the rubber sealant. I found it most effective to scrape off as much as possible before hitting it with the angle grinder. This way, I've spent a lot less time with hot burning rubber flying at my legs and feet. But this now opens the question of what we're doing with the previous mural. As you can see, it has some rot damage, and I've damaged it plenty just by doing this work here. But fear not, because to the best of my knowledge and those that I have contact with that are indigenous, I don't think this is an original indigenous piece. It appears to be slightly Coast Salish and slightly Haida, and kind of just a fantasy of what an indigenous carving might look like in this situation. I still respect and love this mural, but it's degraded and its time has passed. So our plan moving forward is to simply keep it as a structural member of the boat once the rot has been taken care of. With the rain in the forecast and the bow now more susceptible to being leaky than ever before, the next step is to get it completely coated in penetrating epoxy. And as yet another love letter to Haley, I'm going to start with her side of the boat instead of mine. And in this heat, compared to the way it was in winter, the penetrating epoxy is completely liquid and it's soaked all the way through, and I managed to get everything nice and watertight and ready for fairing. And the only reason I need to fair at all is because the teak planks were so well bedded down in the rubber compound that when I pulled some of them up, they ended up pulling up one layer of the plywood, so there is a few discrepancies on the main surface. When I go to put the new planks on, I'm not going to use any fasteners, and the reason is that anywhere where there were fasteners in the teak, you can see that's where the degradation has started. With the deck all sealed up, it's now time to start focusing on the Mizen because there's not really any other critical jobs to be worrying about right now. Our goal is to have the Mizen mast back up this month and ready for sailing in August. First part of that is to get rid of all the sail tracks, because from here we're going to turn it into a gaff-rigged Mizen. The next step is going to be removing all of the thumbs that hold all of the shrouds in place, and then placing them substantially higher on the mast, so that when we have a gaff rig, we can raise the sail higher than the current setup allows us to. like to see it. Not much closer to gaff. We love a red lead lemon around here.
Lick it. How does it taste?
Tastes like my childhood. It's so satisfying.
He loves it.
God, that comes out good.
Yeah. Good.
Where we're going, we don't need no
Sail tracks.
Dude, this comes off so good.
I thought you were gonna call him Babe.
Dude, babe. Hey, babe.
I've called Julie Babe before. I don't know if she's realized it.
I called Simon babe repeatedly.
Yeah, well, he is your babe, so fair enough.
Wow, this is going a lot easier than I thought it would. Now we got a round timber, babe. With all of the hardware removed from the mast, we're able to start taking off all of the shrouds that were on it, and we can stow them away. This is paving the way for being able to make new shrouds with the Dyneema that we have. This is a big step towards our goal of gapping the Mizen. It's summer, and the days are very long, and it's important for us to remember to take time for ourselves. We all decided to take the evening and relax on Saturnina Island, one of our all-time favorite places in the southern Gulf Islands. All right, enough relaxing. Time to start getting the decks faired so that we can start putting wood decks back on. There wasn't a ton of fairing to do, but as you can see, when we pulled up the planks, a lot of the plywood did come up, but we managed to fair it out with Total Boat's high-performance epoxy. And damn, those hatch combings turned out amazing. Good job, Haley. And a big part of working on the Mizen mast is double-checking our blueprints so that we can confirm what's going on, if there's any discrepancies, and what we want to change and how we want to do it. I figured out exactly where I want the new thumb cleats to go, which is where the shrouds attach, and where we want the radar, and where we want the chafe gear to be for when we have a throat sitting against the mast once the sail is all the way up. This means that I can start removing the old thumb cleats and getting ready to make new ones to put on. Thumb cleats are simply what the shrouds loop over top of, and they just stop them from sliding down the mast. That's how simple a gaff rig is. Oh, repair. Gotta repair. Mahogany repair. Robbies instead of flatties.
Oh, Robbie's. Oh.
Not what I was expecting, or what I like to do. Everything on the mast was added in oak, and there was tiny little mahogany repairs, and everything is bedded down in red lead, which made it incredibly easy to remove. I'm really glad to see everything built properly and the way it should have been done in the first place. That means there's no rot and no surprises for me. And here comes that warm summer rain that kept us rushing on the foredeck.
Matching.
Hey, we're not dirtbags, we're just dirt poor.
We only did that before. We just spent all of it in the boat.
Yeah. It's so warm out.
I just don't like it when the rain hits me directly in the forehead. There's a guy seeing you on Endeavor there.
Oh, really?
I can't tell if it's good or if it's bad, but I think you'd like it. It's very honest. Brick. We even use fucking Mondo in there. It's super easy. Do you want me to grab the Mondo and bring it with us? Down?
Probably a good idea. So it says 21.8, so let's call that 22 feet to the shear line from the top, and this is the shear line. That's 11 inches. So let's say 22 feet. Oh wait, but we're 30. So we're actually this. This is what I'm missing for the shear. But we can say, based on 22 feet to the shear, and it comes out as 11 here, that every inch is 2 feet. So this is how she's supposed to be rigged. I don't like this little system very much. It's effective, but since we actually have this much mass, let's do a traditional, and then yeah, have it set that the top shroud goes to there, as it does on this illustration. You can see that little line here comes down, and it goes all the way to one of these two. Hard to determine which.
Forgot we had this. Beautiful. Barry's, you've had this for a while?
Yeah, it came with TC.
Does it? Oh, it did. Duh, no wonder it's come out here and I thought you always had this. It's perfect.
That's so
good.
cute.
It's what she was missing. It's like eyelashes or eyeliner.
Yeah.
That's so cute. I can't wait till we fix that and make it pretty.
Actually, we realized one's slightly smaller, so it might be that they're intended for the mural.
Do you remember that movie Wild Wild West?
Yeah.
Which was solid reference. I think it is.
Watch your step as everything's slippery up on the bow.
It totally is.
Watertight.
Sweet.
That's the small one. Shit.
Yeah.
But
It's not quite right. Interesting.
This is $550 and it's gone. And this is Alex, and this is me handing Alex $550 for a bunch of yellow cedar. It's all perfectly milled up, and it's exactly what we want to work with. This is straight up the best yellow cedar I've ever had the chance to work with. It's old growth, vertical grain, 3 years air dried, and it's clear. It's everything we could want. I can't wait to see it on the boat. That was where I was like, oh, local, VG, dry. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, well, you don't need 10 footers, but you can probably get quite a bit out of those.
Yeah, oh, for sure. This was all milled on Malcolm Island and stored on Gabriola. It was like it was meant to be. I'm so happy to be able to work with material like this.
How goes the Battleberry?
Good. Just got a bunch of
you got some milled wood here.
Yeah.
Nice. What is that? What kind of wood is that?
Yellow cedar.
Oh, that's the yellow cedar you were talking about.
Yeah, this is gonna be
beautiful. So that's the deck.
Yeah, this is gonna be the deck.
Fuck, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I've never seen it in your shop before. Oh fuck, this is sweet, dude.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, this is sick. Oh, I've never seen that one.
So what did I get? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You turned 2 extra boards.
Nice.
Yeah. This is it. This is the new deck for Thunderchild. Out with the teak, in with the yellow cedar and sapele. We're going to change it from straight laid to swept decks, and we're going to have sapele covering boards. And the decks are going to be 1 inch thick. This means we have enough space to do an actual corking bevel and proper plugs. It's going to be amazing. If you remember in last week's episode, I had to get Haley to wash my feet down while I was on the foredeck. That was entirely because the teak deck got so hot that I couldn't stand there while I pulled the anchor up. The yellow cedar is brighter, and it's supremely rot resistant. I have a lot of faith in this new setup. If the old setup was able to last from 1969 until now, with minimal issues, then I think 1 inch decks in yellow cedar and sapele will hold up just as long, if not longer. I chatted with Lyle from Favorite Boatworks, and we determined that the single best method for this setup of swept decks is for me to edge set them and then weigh them down, and instead of using fasteners to hold it down, I'm going to use epoxy. And that way there's not a single hole through the decks. Long term, this will really help us keep the decks watertight and stop any new leaks from forming. My favorite part about this is that from here on out, it's going to be serviceable. If a leak appears, I can just reef the seam and recork. My next challenge is going to be turning this straight piece of wood into a series of scarves that allows me to accept the curve of the forward end of the boat. Keep blowing the breaker. As you can see, it's probably time for me to get a new blade, or bare minimum, clean my blades, because damn did the shop ever get smoky. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and it's a viewer-funded show. So if you want to support, there's support links in the description. Thanks for watching.